Hello, gentlemen. I want to start with a truth that many people do not want to hear, but it is the truth. 99% of men after the age of 60 are wasting their greatest advantage, not because they lack money, not because they lack appearance, not because they are no longer attractive, but because they believe in a lie sold to them for decades, that women are only attracted by youth, by luxury cars, by muscles, by thick black hair, and by flashy things. I used to witness this very many times. A man, 65 years old, successful, calm, with depth, but still feeling inferior, when standing next to a man 35 years old. Why? Because he looks at age instead of looking at value. He looks at wrinkles instead of looking at experience. He looks at what he lost instead of looking at what he built. And that is precisely the tragedy. Gentlemen, I want to say this very clearly. The most dangerous man is not the youngest person, is not the richest person, is not the most handsome person, but the person who clearly knows his value and does not need anyone to validate that. That is the type of man making women feel curious, making them want to come close, making them want to explore without understanding why. Today, I will show you an advantage that youth cannot buy, an advantage that money cannot create, an advantage built from decades of colliding with life. And if you stay until the end of the video, I will share a method that takes only 12 minutes each day, but is strong enough to completely change the way women feel about you, and more importantly, the way you feel about your own self. Before starting, I need to make one thing clear. What I share today is not to manipulate women, is not to control anyone. I do not teach psychological games. I do not teach artificiality. I am talking about natural attraction, built from inner strength, from maturity, and from principles that have been studied in behavioral psychology. Therefore, if you are looking for deceptive tips or techniques to control the emotions of others, this video is not for you. But if you want to understand why some older men still make women strongly attracted, while many younger people fail, then continue. Because the first thing, also the most important thing, is precisely independence from the outcome. Outcome independence. It sounds complicated, but the essence is very simple. Have you ever met this type of man? He walks into a room and immediately seeks attention. He wants to be validated, wants to be praised, wants to be noticed by women. The entirety of his energy is begging for one thing. Please choose me. Please like me. Please validate me. And women feel that faster than you think. In psychology, humans are very sensitive, with needy signals, desperation, the dependence on external feedback. No one needs to say it out. It is still present in the look, in the voice, in body language, in the way a person walks. That is the reason. Many men, the more they try to impress, the more they lose points. The more they try to prove value, the more they show insecurity, the more they try to be liked, the more they become less attractive. I call this the paradox of attraction. The more you chase, the further it runs. The calmer you are, the more it finds you on its own. A man over 60 years old has a special advantage. He no longer has to prove anything. He has lived long enough to know how life operates. He won, lost, suffered losses, rebuilt, learned the lessons that youth has never gone through. So why does he act as if he is going to beg for validation? That is something I never understand. Gentlemen, attraction does not lie in being chosen. Attraction lies in the fact that you already chose yourself. The most attractive man is not the person liked by every woman, but the person who remains calm, even when no one applauds. He enjoys his own life. He has his own goals, his own joy, his own world, and precisely that thing makes others want to step into that world, instead of making him have to chase after them. That is precisely the first advantage, and the most valuable one, that age brings. But it only unleashes its power when you realize you are possessing it, rather than wasting it. to chase a race. That should have ended many years ago. And that leads us to the second advantage, something young men almost do not have: calmness. I want you to think a little. When young, we react to everything: a criticism, a rejection, a look of disregard, a small argument. All can make emotions explode. But time does a very interesting thing. It teaches those willing to learn that not every battle is worth participating in. Not every provocation is worth reacting to. Not every person is worthy of your energy. That is wisdom that only experience creates. I used to observe many women at the age of 50, 60, even 70, and I noticed a common point. They no longer look for thrills. They are no longer attracted by childish performances. They no longer have interest with ego battles. The thing they look for is emotional safety. A man who can hold himself firm when life gets stormy. A man who does not turn every disagreement into a war. A man who does not need to win in an argument to feel himself having value. You know, there are men who just walk into a room and everyone feels reassured, not because they are rich, not because they are famous, but because they are firm, like a great tree, no matter how strong the wind is, still standing there, not panicking, not falling down, not shaking. And that precisely is the attraction that very many young people cannot imitate, because it is created from decades of facing reality, not from a few books, not from a few quotes, not from motivational videos, but from real life. Therefore, the next time someone makes you uncomfortable, try one thing. Stop for 3 seconds. Just 3 seconds. Do not react immediately. Do not hurry to prove yourself right. Do not hurry to protect the ego. Observe the emotion. Then speak out. You will be surprised when seeing yourself control the situation better and receive much more respect. Now, we come to the third advantage. This is something very few people understand. Even women are not always realizing. I call it the sharpness with fragility. Most people only see what is said out, but subtle people see what is left unsaid. That is the difference between hearing and understanding, between attention and empathy. A woman says, "I am fine," but the eyes are tired. A woman says, "It is nothing," but her energy is going very low. A woman smiles, but the smile does not touch the look. Young men often skip that. They hear with ears, but do not observe with the heart. In contrast, a man with experience often sees more. He recognizes the signal, recognizes the emotion, recognizes what is going on without needing anyone to explain. That is the reason. A small action often has more power than an expensive gift. A cup of coffee at the right time, a sincere question, a brief word of encouragement, a chore done instead. When she is overloaded, those things create the feeling of being understood. And the feeling of being understood is one of the strongest feelings in every relationship. I used to say this many times. Women do not remember every word you say, but they remember the feeling when being next to you. If your presence brings peace, brings safety, brings comfort, you are already different compared to very many people out there. But there is one more advantage, perhaps the greatest advantage. That is the value accumulated over time. In evolutionary psychology, people often say, humans always evaluate signals related to competence, stability, and adaptability. This is not just money. Many people misunderstand this. Money is only a small part. The more important thing is the ability to build life, the ability to solve problems, the ability to take responsibility, the ability to stand up after failure, the ability to keep promises, the ability to create order amid chaos. Do you know what the interesting thing is? The majority of those qualities all grow stronger with age. Do not grow weaker. You may not run as fast as before, but you understand people more. You may not be as strong as before, but you control emotions better. You may not be younger, but you are wiser. And in very many cases, that precisely is the deciding thing, the quality of a relationship. The regrettable thing is, many men do not see that. They look at what is lost instead of what is achieved. And that precisely is when they begin to destroy their identity. They dye hair, not because they like it, but because they fear getting old. They buy luxury things, not because they want to, but because they want to prove something. They try to live like the age of 30, while their soul has gone through 60 years of life. Gentlemen, I want you to hear very carefully. Nothing makes a man less attractive than denying himself. Nothing weakens edge faster than living to get validation. You do not need to become a younger version. You need to become a stronger version of yourself today. That precisely is the real game, and that is when I want to share a very famous study named Socioemotional Selectivity Theory. Researchers discovered when humans grow older, they begin to choose differently. They no longer want many relationships. They want the right relationships. They no longer want to be liked by many people. They want to be understood. They no longer want to impress. They want authentic connection. What does this mean? It means that mature qualities increasingly have value when age increases. And that precisely is the reason a man 60 years old, clearly knowing his own self, can be much more attractive compared to a younger person, but full of insecurity. The problem does not lie in age. The problem lies in perception. Do you look at age as a burden or as an asset? Do you look at life experience as scars or as medals? Do you look at your own self as a person who is losing or as a person who is completing? Because that answer will decide the entirety of the energy that you bring into life, and also decide the way others feel about you. And that is when I want to reveal the secret mentioned from the beginning of the video. Not a miracle formula, not a manipulation technique, not a hidden secret. Actually, it is very simple. Simple to the extent that the majority of people skip it. 12 minutes, just 12 minutes each day. That is all. Each morning, before turning on the phone, before reading the news, before letting the world invade your mind. Sit alone, in stillness, no noise, no screen, no distraction, only you and your life. I want you to ask yourself one question. Very simple, but very powerful. What am I truly living for? Not what others want, not what society wants, not what friends want, but you. After that, write down 3 things that you are proud of. Not the bank account, not the car, not the house, but qualities. Your human self. It can be honesty, it can be responsibility, it can be perseverance, it can be courage. It can be the ability to stand up after collapses. Do you know what happens? When doing this continuously, the mind begins to change. The fulcrum begins to change. You stop living based on approval and begin living based on intrinsic value. That precisely is the root of true confidence. Not noisy confidence, not boastful confidence, but quiet confidence. The strength needing no advertisement, like the sun. Needing to convince no one that it is shining. Gentlemen, I want to say one thing that might make many people awaken. The majority of men do not truly fear old age. They fear losing value. They fear being left behind. They fear no longer being noticed. They fear becoming invisible. And because of that fear, they begin to run. Running after youth, running after validation, running after image, running after standards, with no stopping point. But that run does not lead to freedom. It leads to tiredness. It leads to insecurity. It leads to the feeling that one is never enough. And that precisely is the trap. The greatest trap of old age. Not wrinkles, not gray hair, not time, but losing self-respect, in exchange for validation. From strangers, I met men possessing everything: money, status, assets, but still unhappy because they have never truly accepted themselves. I also used to meet very ordinary men, not famous, not particularly rich, but they walked into a room and everyone felt a different energy, a calmness, a certainty, a confidence that cannot be bought with money. Those are the men who stopped fighting with themselves. They no longer try to become anyone else. They no longer ask permission from the world to be themselves. And paradoxically, that is when the world begins to respect them. Gentlemen, if today you forget everything, all the things I just said, remember one single thing: age does not reduce attraction. Insecurity does that. Gray hair does not reduce value. Self-deprecation does that. Wrinkles do not reduce strength. Self-denial does that. You do not need to be younger. You need to be more grounded. You do not need to be liked by everyone. You need to respect yourself. You do not need to chase after women. You need to build a life worth making others want to step into. That is the reason I always say, become a magnet. Do not become a validation hunter. Build health, build knowledge, build demeanor, build peace, because those are the things no one can take away from you. And before ending, I want to leave 3 simple challenges for the next 7 days. The first challenge: 12 minutes of stillness each morning. Skip no days. The second challenge: listen more than speak, according to the 70-30 rule, in every conversation. The third challenge: spend time upgrading yourself. Instead of seeking attention, read a book, walk 1 more mile, learn a new skill, take care of appearance, or improve health just a little better than yesterday. That is enough. If you found this video helpful, press like, subscribe to Femina Mind, and share it to a man who needs to hear these things. Because perhaps the thing he needs most right now is not encouragement, but an awakening. And now, I want to leave you with one final question. A question that I hope you will carry with you after the video ends. When no one else sees, when no one else evaluates, when no one else praises, will you still feel proud of the man looking at you in the mirror or not?